A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. And this quote is by George R. R. Martin. Hi everyone, I'm Diksha and I welcome you all to today's video. So today's video, I really wanted to talk about one topic that I have been thinking for a very long time, and it's called How Reading Changed Me, or How Reading Changed Our Lives in simply way. And this is a quote that I really like because I read this quote when I was young and I did not understand quite nicely. But then when I started reading a lot, I understand this quote very nicely now, because when you read books, you have so many things to think about or talk about that a reader definitely cannot live a single life, because they get to know about different characters and everything. So I'm going to talk about this topic in this video today. So when I think about the change that starts in somebody's life who starts reading, is I think it's not very dramatic or shown in films or movies. It's never dramatic. It's very slow, and it's not very rapid also, because sometimes you can read a book in like 2 days or 3 days, and sometimes you don't read for a very long time, and we often go through reading slumps. But I think reading changes us in so many different ways, because we get so much to think about, and we get so much food to thought about, and the change that reading bring in our life is so slow yet so amazing. And I think the transformation that happens because of reading in people's life is really very slow at first, because the transformation that reading brings in our life is literally can be very invisible at first. But slowly, when you start reading more books and you start reading more writers, you start to understand reading more nicely and profoundly, and you start to understand the vision of the characters and the author who have written the book. One thing that I really love about reading, and that I also personally have experienced, is when you start reading books and you start to read about characters and their stories and how they lead their life in the books, because it is all fictional, but yet it is so humane, because different writers write in a very different way. So when you start reading, you start to understand human emotions in a very beautiful and very profound way. You start to understand the happiness, the loneliness experienced by humans, and how every emotion can be felt in a very different way by different people, but it is all the same at the same time too. And you start to connect with the emotions, you start to observe the world around you in a very different way, because you are reading something just like that, but it is different yet same at the same time. When our attention span improves, we start to think about things in a different way. We don't forget stuff. We don't forget the page that we just have read. No, it doesn't happen that way. So reading literally introduces slowness into our life, and it changes the perspective, how we see the world, and it literally makes us to sit with the things, not needing immediate response or immediate stimulation, because not everything needs direct action or immediate action. We have to sit with our thoughts and sit with our emotions to in order to understand what is happening with us, what is happening around us, because usually we literally just move so fast in our lives that we often forget to look around and just to stop for a while. Now, this is something I read recently about books. Why don't you read a book that was written centuries ago and contemplate the fact that you feel the same emotions as someone else did generations ago, and maybe you'll calm down? I think this quote literally summarizes the way I feel about books and writing and characters, because you read something that was written centuries ago and you start to feel and resonate with the feelings of the character or feeling with the book, and you start to feel, okay, this is happening with me. Oh, this has happened before too. So maybe it will be okay. Reading books is so profound because it denies you the ability to speak when confronted with an idea. You must listen. It isn't a conversation. Sometimes it shouldn't be a conversation. Sometimes we should just listen and just listen. And this is something that I really think about many times, that reading not just improves our attention span, but it also improves our literally the need to listen to others, the need to listen to different things in our life, and to understand and absorb more than to speak more. Because when you listen more and absorb things in your mind, you start to introspect in a very different way about things yourself, about things in other. So it is literally amazing. This is one of my favorite quote by Jean-Paul Sartre, and it goes something like this: I had found my religion. Nothing seemed more important to me than a book. I saw a library as a temple. And it's just so beautiful. I literally liked reading this so much. The best moments in reading are when you come across something, a thought, a feeling, a way of looking at things that you thought special, particular to you. And here it is, set down by someone else, a person you have never met, maybe even someone long dead, and it is as if a hand has come out and taken yours. This is just something that I just talked about, that how you read something and that has been written centuries ago, and you are literally reading it now in 2026, and you start to think about, oh, these things have happened before. So it's beautiful. We read in bed because reading is halfway between life and dreaming, our own consciousness in someone else's mind. Isn't it odd how much fatter a book gets when you have read it several times? As if something were left between the pages every time you have read it. Feelings, thoughts, sounds, smells. And then, when you look at the book again, many years later, you find yourself there too, a slightly younger self, slightly different, as if the book had preserved you like pressed flour, both strange and familiar. This is one of the most beautiful lines I read about reading and books, because when you read a book, when for the first time, it is very different, and then you leave a book for a very long time, and then you can maybe come back to it again, and then you feel completely different yet the same at the same time, because it's beautiful that you gain a different perspective when you read the book again. And it has happened to me many times, and it's so beautiful. I conclude all of the thoughts that I have had about this particular topic, that how reading changes us or how reading changed me. I would like to think about in this way, that a book is not necessary, or a reading can necessarily not change your life in a very profound way, but it can definitely help you for some time. It can give you a different perspective, or it can give you a moment of clarity. It can make you feel resonate with a character, or a book can come at the perfect time when you had to read it. Doesn't mean that reading can change your life in a very different way, or can remove the struggles from your life, but definitely it gives you a language of experiences of different characters, of different people, of things happening, or you can learn the lessons that people have also learned in their life, and it gives you a moment of clarity, and sometimes it is just enough. And the changes that reading brings and the change that reading brings and the change that reading bring in our life is very slow and yet very quiet, and it does not force transformation. It literally simply stays with you and let the transformation happen naturally. So reading is just so beautiful, and I hope that we read more in today's world. I hope you have enjoyed the video and not got bored by me talking about reading and books. And if you have anything to say or any beautiful thing to say about reading, then you can surely write it in the comments, and I hope you have enjoyed the video.